Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for October 9th. Okay, let's take care of a few housekeeping things first of all. So, to all of my new subscribers, thank you so much. For people who have made donations to the channel, I'm always so humbled, I'm always so surprised, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's very, very much appreciated. Okay. I can officially say I have been absolutely schooled on what an osteopath does. Okay? I get it. I was told. So however, and I really, really do thank you for the corrections because it's always important to learn stuff and know stuff. But my point was more about the fact that the doctor looked right. He was who Trump envisioned he should look like for somebody reporting on his health. Because that's the thing about Trump's, right? He needs you to look the part because, of course, he sees everything through the prism of a reality TV show. But thank you very much for the correction. Secondly, I had no idea that in the southern United States, a toboggan was a hat. So I appreciate that that could have caused some confusion. I also have never seen Citizen Kane. And so I'm going to need to watch that because apparently there's a very interesting scene at the end with a toboggan, like the sled kind. So there we have it. Okay, so when I said toboggan, I literally meant like the kind of sled that you would take going down a snowy hill. But that is so cool because I had no idea that there were all these different sort of meanings to the same word. Okay. For those of you who have been asking, both of my channels always have closed captioning on them. It's really important to me that they do. Frankly, I use closed captioning a lot in my own world, so I understand how aggravating it is when the captions don't show up. But I have discovered, and I don't think it's exclusive to my channel, I have discovered that if you watch my videos very quickly after they're released, there is no closed captioning. If you watch them a couple of hours later, it appears to show up. So I don't know what that glitch is or that delay is, but that is the story there. Third, my pendulum. Okay, so I did try an experiment. I actually did try to suspend the pendulum sort of without any physical touch and see if it would respond. It really didn't, and it didn't surprise me because part of what happens with a pendulum is the vibration from your body. The energy that spirit is giving you travels through your body and out of your fingers to the pendulum. Now, usually, particularly with the small pendulum that I use that has a very short chain, you are going to see a slight vibration in the hands because it is the hand is actually moving with the not only the energy but with the momentum of the pendulum. So a lot of you really, really like it. A lot of you had questions, and that's terrific. I'm happy to explain why things are the way they are and how they work for me. For any of you who have seen my relationship with the pendulum, it is very tight. It is very close. That particular one especially, and so I get very quick, sharp answers from it. Very often before I have finished answering or finished asking the question. And by the way, for those of you who ask their pendulums along when I'm doing mine and get the same answers, that is fabulous. I love when you let me know that happens. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here we go, right? So I am recording this on Thursday afternoon. You're going to be seeing it on Friday in most of the world. So we know that Gretchen Whitaker, there was a plot to kidnap her that involved explosives. And those people, I believe there's now 7 who have been indicted. Now, I don't mean to cast aspersions, and maybe I'm even speaking out of turn, but it seems to me that if you were going to plot to kidnap somebody, a government official, that you probably wouldn't start the process out on social media. Just saying. Just think. Okay, so there's that. All right, now what I'm going to, and of course yesterday was the debate with Harris and Pence, who didn't answer any questions. He tried to bully her. He tried to push back against the moderator. He, in many ways, was sort of a more polite version of the bullying Trump. So that was incredibly unfortunate to see, but exactly kind of what most of us, I'm sure, expected. Harris did fabulous. She answered the questions. She was simply presidential, informative, personable, and didn't come across as, sort of a slimy bucket. Today, we are going to take a look at Trump because he is like right out of control. But we're also going to take a look at Biden and Harris. So I'm going to break this down into sort of two separate mini readings. I think we're going into the weekend, and it would just be nice to go in with a little bit of good news. So let's start with them that whine first, and frankly cause several of us to drink wine. And then we're going to go on to the winners, shall we? Okay, so let's focus in on Trump. I have a question. I am wanting to know what the heck is going on with him. He is as erratic and as crazy, kind of honestly, as I've ever seen. Not as crazy, behaving crazily. I can't diagnose him, Come on down, I have a question. Okay. So, yeah. So, I was pretty consistent in saying that there was only going to be one debate, one presidential debate, and absolutely looks like that's exactly what's going to happen because Trump was very clear. Anything that the Commission of Presidential Debates tries to enforce that is going to shut him off or turn down his volume or not let him speak, he's not going to play. That doesn't surprise anybody because his whole thing is just pushing past and bullying everybody. So that's going to be the excuse. He's not going to do the next one coming up, and frankly, he's not going to do the one after that because the commission is not going to change their rules about being able to silence his mic. So what we saw was exactly what we're going to get. What's the matter, Tika? Sorry, my dogs are very close by and they're being a little noisy, but there we go. Trump's current state. I even heard talk that Don Jr. Was trying to get an intervention happening, but Eric and his sister, and I guess Jared, kind of vetoed that plan. They wouldn't support him because I guess they're just too afraid of daddy, which is pathetic. I get it, but I gotta tell you, when a child is sort of, just not able to, children are not able to come together and sort of for the health and benefit of the parent, it just talks to you a little bit about the dysfunction within that relationship. Okay, so Trump is getting judged absolutely everywhere he goes, and this is kind of what's going on. With every judgment, with every statement he makes that he is frankly ridiculed for after the fact. He's running around telling people after 6 days he's cured and you don't really need drugs because, you can just heal on your own and people don't die from it. He's just out of control. Not to mention the whole running around, kind of doing that Mussolini moment with the mask and the not mask on the balcony. Good Lord. Okay, so what's happening is as this judgment is being passed on him, he faster and faster is recognizing that the White House literally is slipping away from him. In some ways, he really, really has reverted to a bubble, okay? He now no longer, I believe, is functioning in this realm. Okay, he is completely almost detached from this reality, and he lives in this little bubble and this fantasy world. But what is penetrating the bubble is the continual sharp judgments, which of course we know, he hates, right? Um, so he's starting to recognize that this isn't really going well. And trust me when I say he is starting to get very busy creating sort of an escape hatch, an escape plan. Okay. So we're going to see how that goes. Now, the Kamala Harris debate, it put a bit of a hitch in his giddy up because he really thought that Pence was weak. He wasn't aggressive enough. He felt like Pence didn't defend him enough. And so simply just by being a consummate professional with some class and some dignity, it has put Pence into a situation where him and the Donald are a little bit on the outs right now. There's nothing Donald's going to be able to do about it, but it has created additional friction or stress. Women who watched that debate, whatever few were hanging on to the Trump ticket, I think a few more fell off the wagon because the sexism was so blatant that I can't imagine who wouldn't get just what female wouldn't just get indignant, and man, just watching the behavior that was displayed. But there you have it. Okay. So what we're looking at here is somebody who is absolutely, completely refusing to do any self-examination, any self-exploration. He doesn't want to hear it. He honestly, the guy's having a pity party, okay? Like, I gotta tell you, he's just having a pity party. And that makes him, frankly, all the more volatile, right? Because you can't control him. And honestly, it very much feels like nobody's trying anymore, right? Everybody's just kind of give up. And it really, more than that, it feels as if people are pulling back. They are not trying to celebrate him anymore. They are not trying to anything. They're trying to save their lives. I'm talking about the people right around him. And they're trying to figure out how exactly their life goes on after Trump loses the election. And for anybody who doesn't think he's going to lose the election, I don't know what other reassurance you can get. He's leading by sort of an average of 10 points. Something like he has a 40-point lead with seniors, almost the same kind of lead or something in that area with women. Okay, so it's crumbling, it is imploding. And what we are going to watch for the next little while is him implode along with the re-election. And we haven't finished hearing about COVID illnesses as a result of, his super spreader events. And I think there's going to be additional news coming out that sort of creates a real negative feeling about it. I don't know what it is, but it feels very much like somebody well known, somebody that we know is going to get sick enough that their health is in serious jeopardy. And Trump, of course, is going to say, I'm not responsible. I didn't do anything. Look at me. I'm cured. I'm fine. And that, again, is going to trigger people into just once again having to face how unbelievably inhumane the man is. They don't know what their message is anymore. The election is, they are in such a state of turmoil. They don't know what's coming down, the road next because they can't control him. They can't talk to him. He has gone rogue, completely rogue. He's going to do this on his own. He's not really trusting a whole lot of anybody around him. And his closest people are not there. because they're all sick with COVID, which, you know, apparently they contracted at a Trump super spreader event. The other thing I want to say is there's been a lot of talk about when did Trump receive his last negative test result for COVID. And energetically, the answer that I've been getting for that is Monday. So the day before the Biden debate. Now, this is just my energetic impression, but just so that's the time frame that I've been given. Okay. So we've got a lot of movement. We've got the Knight of Wands, Swords, and Cups sitting here. So it's talking about kind of, again, that charging ahead, that action, that activity. It's sort of moving ahead, honestly, without a whole heck of a lot of thought, moving ahead in a way that is sort of emotional responses and reactions, and moving forward in a way that is so blatantly disregarding not only the law, not only guidelines, but just common human decency. Those are all no longer. It's not that they ever were a part of him, but at some point he could at least try to fake it. He is now in a place where he really believes he's invincible. He really does, because now he's strutting around saying, I'm cured, I'm amazing. So therefore I must be invincible. Therefore, the blessing that God sent me of getting COVID, you know, I am worthy of. Heaven help us all. They're not going to, okay, so this is it, right? They don't have a lot going for them in terms of that re-election. What you are going to see is a lot of dirty tricks kind of going on with the administration in the next little while. So they just announced a bunch of sanctions against Iran. I think that was this morning. You've got there's just going to be stuff going on where you're going to see a lot of distraction from the White House, a lot of, you know, what is that, 3-card Monty with the three things that they swirl around. There's going to be a lot of that going on. It just feels as if they can't contain them. And so literally every single one of them, and you know what, I was going to say clean up on aisle 5, but honestly, it's not. The picture I got was, you know, somebody with a little pooper scooper following an elephant. All they can do is just run around behind him and clean up the crap. Okay. Yeah, he's starting to give some serious consideration, because he's starting to really understand that this is gone. He's done. He's giving a lot of consideration to seeing who he can reach out to, who can ask for favors from, especially those who are not necessarily on American soil. And he's all about his money. He's all about his money. What can he accumulate? What can he steal? What can he get out of the country? What can he safeguard? There's a whole lot of that going on. A lot of friction behind the scenes, a lot of friction within the family itself. People around him understand the reality of the situation, even if they say something very different in public. They really realize that this thing has imploded. It is spiraling out of control, and he is spiraling right along with it. And they get that there really isn't a way to recover. Even if they band together, even if they give it their best shot, it really feels like they have a clear awareness that, you know what, 20 whatever days it is, 6, 5, whatever, as people have already started, and millions of people have already voted, they realize that there really isn't a lot that they're going to be able to turn around. You just cannot erase a 10, 12, 14, 40% lead. Okay? Yeah, they're going to do it. They can, but honestly, he's out of control. He's just out of control. He's reverted. He's now living in some fantasy world that doesn't really have anything to do with 2020. Not even a little bit. Just not even a little bit. Okay. So, oh, look what was at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Let's take a look at Biden and Harris, shall we? Let's just cleanse our palates, shall we? Just while I'm doing this, for those of you, who are interested, this week's Sunday Positive Energy Circle, the Soulprint Positive Energy Circle, is going to be for people who have been impacted by COVID, whether they are grieving the loss of others, whether they are people who, are sick, whether it is people who have recovered but still have all of these sort of lingering symptoms, I guess, damage, right? The exhaustion, the lung scarring. People are dealing with an awful lot. And frankly, the people who are just family and friends and just watching others suffer. We're going to do a positive energy circle on that topic. Most especially because honestly, with some of the crap coming out of Trump's mouth, I think in some ways it's actually re-traumatizing people who are already traumatized. And so it feels like this would be a good time to send out some love, some encouragement, some happy thoughts, some healing energy. So if that is something you're interested in, you can look for that on Sunday. All right, let's focus in on Biden and Harris. It was also really interesting in the debate yesterday that I don't believe once, I could be wrong, but I don't believe that I actually heard Pence say he didn't refer to Trump as anything other than President Trump. And then there was Kamala on the other side talking about me and Joe. And, again, which one just is more like the rest of us, right? Which side, makes us feel that they're normal people, just kind of like the rest of us. For those of you, by the way, who don't know, I am Canadian. So I don't have a pony in this race. And the readings I do, I try my level best to be as objective as I can. But at this point, understand, we're kind of dealing with the difference between somebody is so erratic, so undisciplined, so badly behaved, and people who are competent, professional, And so it's very hard for me to say, oh yeah, I can be completely unbiased and I think, Trump's whatever Trump is. I don't think that, okay? I just don't. I think he needs to be removed, and the sooner the better. I think he is a danger not only to your country, but globally. And he's going to try to stir up as many pots as he can between now and when he leaves office. Speaking of which, I again don't see him in office in November. And I don't know if that's a permanent, he's not going to be around, or he just sort of starts laying really low after the election. Come on down. Biden-Harris campaign. Biden-Harris campaign. Biden-Harris campaign. Perfect. Okay. So as the next 20 odd days unfold, what you're going to see is more support coming their way. Oh, I did notice that Putin chimed in and was commenting on, how anti-Putin Biden is. So, he's squawking. But what you're going to see is more and more support coming their way. Whether it is endorsements from newspapers, from generals, from, corporations, whatever it is, you're going to see an uptick of the people who are not only supporting him, but kind of being really obvious and blatant about supporting him. They've got lots of money coming in. I keep saying this, Trump does not have the money. He wants people to think he does. He wants people to think his campaign does. He doesn't have it. There's some interesting information out there about how much Biden is spending versus Trump in certain key states. And in some of them, Trump has literally pulled all of his advertising revenue out of certain places. So, again, is that because they don't think it's worth it? Is that because they're going to lose anyway? I don't know, but that's what's going on. They are surrounded, their ticket is really surrounded by really competent people who are doing their very level best to create a healing environment, not only for the ticket, but more importantly, frankly, for the country. Okay? So that's going on. Now, the world card in this situation really does represent the fact that they honestly have the support of the world with them. They really do. There are only a few places that are run by dictators who are not supporting this. But most people are completely supporting the Biden-Harris ticket. They want this presidency, this administration to literally come to an end, and that is exactly what they are planning on delivering, okay? They are moving forward, and they are doing everything they can to box Trump in and to bring about the end of his presidency and this administration. There is such a lovely balance between the two of them. They really are going to have, I believe they already do have, but it's going to become more and more kind of apparent as things go forward. Joe and Kamala really do have a terrific relationship with each other. It very much feels like a friendship. It feels like two people who are on the same page. And it feels like there is a great deal of clarity between the two of them, how they conduct themselves, what they say, and how they say it. The Trump-Biden re-election campaign is crammed full of smart, intelligent, politically savvy people who know what they're doing. Unlike the Trump campaign, who they're either sick or they have no experience. In some cases, they've, had to leave rather ungraciously. So he doesn't have any support, but I guess what he has surrounded himself with, he believes, are the very, very best people, because that's all he hires. You've got the country coming to a place of happiness, a sense of, we can write this, we can correct this, we have the power, and we're going to do it. So what you're going to get over the next, I think couple of weeks is a sense of people who have been sort of dozing in the last little while, kind of perking up and going, okay, listen, energetically, we've got to do what we do. Is there somebody I can drive to a polling station? Is there somebody I can get to a drop-off ballot? What can I do in my own individual ways? And if all that boils down to sending an email or sending a prayer, that's terrific. But definitely feels like people are going to become more and more engaged on the Biden side of things. Okay, as far as the Trump side, honestly, they're just going to get more belligerent, more difficult, more in your face. It's a lot of fighting around him. Wow. Yeah. You've got a really solid partnership here. And honestly, that is going to do really, really, really amazing things. They're so successful, so successful. Making him defensive, getting Trump to react badly. And the irony of it all is that they're not trying to do it. They're just acting like seasoned politicians. They're acting like two people who are wanting to assume two of the most powerful positions within your government. And so that they make themselves very attractive to people who are really just done. Okay. I want you, the other little housekeeping bit, here in Canada, we are celebrating Thanksgiving this weekend. So it's officially on Monday, but of course, we celebrate it Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It kind of is that kind of fluid weekend. So you are going to get a video from me on Monday. But I also thought that on Tuesday, on the Soulprint Insights channel, we might take a look at gratitude. And how come it works and why you want to stay kind of in that place. So if that's something you're interested, feel free to check that out. The Insights channel releases videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, I think that is everything. For fellow Canadians, enjoy Turkey Day. I hope wherever you are, you're having good weather. If you're getting together with people, please be safe. And I guess we'll just see you early next week. Until next time, take care, be well, and we'll see you really, really soon. Bye-bye.